Accra Metropolitan Assembly, AMA, is undertaking a decongestion exercise in the central business district of Accra.
Shops as well as makeshift structures were destroyed.
For years, many hawkers in Accra have had to wrestle with city authorities. City authorities want to decongest, maintain law and order, and keep things working well. Street hawkers also want to be free from city authorities. They want to hustle anywhere, at any time, without any disturbance. It's their code for survival. Yet, this quest for survival is nearly impossible in the real world. There needs to be law and order so we don't degenerate into anarchy. The phenomenon tagged Abaye by hawkers on the streets of Accra did not start today. Tiger Eye, after observing the seemingly chaotic relationship between hawkers and city authorities, decided to look further. What happens beneath the surface? Why do we have so many unfortunate stories of city guards being hooted at and disrespected by some hawkers? How do some hawkers end up losing their goods, with some committing suicide out of the related stress? How true is it that some city guards ask for sex, and when female hawkers oblige, they give back their seized goods to them? The case of fines without receipts. Who keeps the money? Who do the guards collecting such monies account to? On the first day of our investigation, we came across this scene in the Accra Central Business District. This is Abolowe, a trader in Accra. City guards just seized her goods, sacks of slippers. Fearing she would never get her goods again, Abolowe insisted on following the guards to wherever they were taking her goods. The leader of the Abaye group threatened to pull her out of the vehicle, but she persisted and stayed in the vehicle as she said she wanted to protect her goods. She remained in the truck until they took her to the office. The following day, Abolowe, whose goods weren't released to her, came to the office for her goods. There, a female AMA official asked her to go and apologize to the leader of the Abaye group that seized her goods, as they claimed she insulted them while they were seizing her goods. Later that day, after apologizing and paying some money to the guards, her goods were released. What happened? Among all the hawkers on the market, why was Abolowe and her friends the only ones arrested that day? As a hawker, is it possible to avoid arrest or seizure of one's goods from city guards? What are the tricks?
Na media adeba ko a edimi hu ya ne se aduane edi kura no abayefo timfa e de call office na wansna koguso nam ne ne ma no wansna koguso no masande aba ne yakoto ne yakodi ne yakoyare ni nyina no emwa pese wakoje busia de ye adwuma na abaye abefa ne ma no bank fo mbeba abaji musika sika no wo hia wo de kwa koma no.
Using Aboloway's situation as a key example, we decided to dig deeper. In the next couple of minutes, we will take you across the Accra Central Business District. You will meet hawkers, taxi drivers, food vendors, and ordinary citizens, and how they deal or are dealt with by AMA City Guards. You will also meet the City Guards who have made it their life's job to harass others, extort money, and take bribes without reporting to the Accra Metropolitan Assembly or issuing receipts. Francis, a young taxi driver, was accosted by 2 AMA City Guards officers for driving against the one-way rule at a place called Clubhouse in Accra. He was asked to pay 150 Ghana cedis for his release. He had only 40 Ghana cedis, which he offered them, but they refused to take it. They asked for more. We decided to step in on behalf of the taxi driver. Inspector Patrick demanded a 360 Ghana cedi fine. We offered 50 Ghana cedis. He asked us to send the money to his partner. Patrick's partner also asked us to take the money to Patrick and return to him. They then released the keys to us. They also gave back the driver's license, all for 50 Ghana cedis, which was going directly into their pockets. Patrick warned us not to inform anyone of what has happened. Kwame, a spare driver, was accosted by an AMA City Guard officer, Ishmael, for driving a trotro urban vehicle without a driving license and an AMA license in the Accra Business District and asked to pay 350 Ghana cedi fine for his release. The driver offered them 50 Ghana cedis but was turned down, asking for 50 Ghana cedis more. When we stepped in to intercede for the spare driver, the city guard confirmed the offense and told us that he asked the driver to add some amount to the 50 Ghana cedis he is offering so. He said after booking the 50 Ghana cedis, those who did the arrest can have something for water.
I'm not questioning him since you want to okay.
Ishmael later led us to the clamped vehicle and took off the clamp. Released the driver and took the 60 Ghana cedis. For driving without a license and an AMA license, this driver was accosted by an AMA City Guard officer, Joseph, in white shirt on black trousers uniform covered with a reflector and a black cap, and asked to pay 150 Ghana cedis fine for his release. The driver bargained for a reduction, but the guard ignored him. After observing for a while, we stepped in to intervene on behalf of the taxi driver. The guard confirmed the offense and told us that he hasn't even been to the office and was trying to settle with the driver off records, but the driver wasn't cooperating. Joseph, after a hard bargain, decided to accept 50 Ghana cedis for the driver's freedom without legal processing. We offered 40 Ghana cedis, which Joseph accepted. Joseph, the AMA guard, is known as a serial bribe taker who understands how to let offending drivers get off the hook by paying him something small. He sometimes asks for mobile money transfer if offenders do not have money on the spot. Ibrahim, a driver of a fully loaded taxi, was accosted by an AMA City Guard officer, Joseph, and another for driving without an AMA license in the Accra Business District and asked to pay 300 Ghana Cedi fine for his release. The driver had only 20 Ghana Cedis, which he offered, but was turned down.
I mean, for some Americans, oh, they all want to papa financial, no be unfana.
Paul, another AMA City Guard, also called Red, tried to explain to and convince both Tiger and Ibrahim that they, the AMA officers themselves, know the drivers can't pay the legal fine. Hence, they are expected to make an offer when arrested and everything will be sorted.
Come out with something better.
The driver, however, offered them only 20 Ghana Cedis, reason they had completely ignored him. When Tiger offered him 50 Ghana Cedis as their paths have been crossing in this venture, Joseph asked that Tiger adds Ibrahim's 20 Ghana Cedis so they will give 70 Ghana Cedis in total. Joseph eventually took the 70 Ghana Cedis and asked his colleague to get Ibrahim his car keys, which the fellow AMA officer did with displeasure because the money collected was small. Eventually, Ibrahim was released. Paul, an Accra Metropolitan Assembly City Guard, told us some of the secrets of the corrupt within the AMA system.
Oh, okay. But if you are rushing like this, you can consider they will consider to go. Special amount of 150. You see the rules. Oh, okay. If you almost catch us, you will be aware. Like a fine, what I say. 3 minutes, okay. I can consider you. Oh, yeah, can better. Oh, because you can say last year. It's in April, March, April. And with which you will be only speaker, only like you know about us. And the cops, you know, between 4.5. And this can go anyway. So, on no Casaboko, no consider the state is oh, yeah, guys, Anna. Review. I want to waste your time. Offer dropping.
An AMA officer, Shanton, arrested a taxi driver for driving with an expired AMA sticker and no driver's license in the Accra Business District. Shanton asked him to pay 100 Ghana Cedis for his release, but the driver offered 50 Ghana Cedis, which the guard rejected. When we stepped in to intercede for the taxi driver, Shanton demanded that since the driver in trouble is enjoying Lucozade, we should also get him the big size of Lucozade or add the money to the 50 Ghana Cedis first offered before he can be released.
Calba for my baby, I want one. No,
Shanton took the 50 Ghana Cedis from the driver but gave it back, claiming that he didn't add the money for the Lucozade. We added an extra 30 Ghana Cedis to make it 80 Ghana Cedis, which he took and released the car keys to the driver. We came across Shanton again, in this situation involving a taxi driver in a dark blue vest over khaki side park shorts, who was accosted by a female AMA City Guard. Shanton took over. The driver was driving with an over 5 months expired AMA sticker. The driver asked of how much they would take for his release, and Shanton asked him to go and speak with Ahmed, his colleague guard. Ahmed demanded 50 Ghana Cedis when he was brought to the AMA office.
Ya krabu kalo. Weso ka uno message keys ni nka. Se we no na le key no o wo butum. Na me ni na kasa wo so ko fasika ba na afi mi fe da me wo no. Na yi kini kram.
Shanton then asked the driver to pressurize Ahmed, who promised to get him, the driver, his keys and release him as the case has gotten beyond him, Shanton, and won't augur well for him should he attempt to work on it. Ahmed went for another officer who had the keys to the padlock for the clamp, who came to unlock and take off the clamp, after which Ahmed came to take the 50 Ghana cedis from the driver and handed the keys to him for his release. Another taxi driver accosted and brought to the office told us that AMA City Guards are demanding 400 Ghana cedis when he went to the office, but he can afford only 50 Ghana cedis, which they are not willing to take. A driver in black t-shirt over black trousers narrating to Tiger that he was arrested at the clubhouse in Accra for driving against the one-way rule, but there isn't any road sign at the place indicating so, and was told the fine is 360 Ghana cedis, but was asked to pay half of that amount for his release, which he claims has not even a farthing to settle them. A driver who was arrested for a traffic offense was brought to the AMA office, and he paid money to Ahmed, a city guard at the AMA office counter, by the instruction of the city guard who arrested him. In the presence of few, and his car keys was released without a legal processing. An AMA city guard accosts a driver for driving without an AMA sticker and brings him to their office, demanding that they pay 120 Ghana cedis so that he would convince those responsible for issuing the sticker to issue it for them at 120 Ghana cedis, as the normal price is 180.
Now, near me, 100 Ghana cedis, madam. Would obey and be out there? Your number small on someone now on black, no on begging on your money.
He, however, again managed to convince the driver and his companion to instead pay 50 Ghana cedis and give the officers at the counter another 50 so that they will release his car keys to him to leave, which eventually happened.
120 now market woman me person me consider wo me person me consider hello also but money for that come stand now they cut them 100 they offer about 55 can I buy for the friend they na papa ko ni go papa na consider on 120 now contract can now fan now how more you do have it here and I you
Another driver who could be heard in the background had his car detained for not possessing some driving and vehicle documents. When he later returned with the said documents, the city guards who had clamped his car were not willing to release his car for refusing to pay them money, hence asked him to go and take the car away even though it was clamped, as he was proving smart by not giving them his car keys. Sometimes, the city guards get into fights with the hawkers. One of the Abaye leaders, in a jacket over a pair of kente trousers, in the process of seizing goods, pushed, shoved, and hit a hawker in a white vest over 3/4 short over a red boxer with his elbow. The hawker was trying to prevent them from seizing his goods and cutting truck. The Abaye leader later grasped the hawker by the neck from behind and threw him away when the hawker decided to follow them. When as bystanders, we tried to intervene by asking the hawker to speak with one of the Abayes during the decongestion, the Abaye told us that he had tried talking to the hawker into settling the issue earlier, which the hawker should have done, but proved stubborn, which led to the pushing and shoving from their top man. The Abaye, however, claimed the issue had traveled beyond him as a subordinate, and solving it would be a bit difficult.
We move my hand before the boys come, so then they attack them. Our director took time to they in the fight, so the director push us. So right now, if you want to take the thing, go delay up. The attitude is show.
Abaye city guards continued their seizing spree but passed by a lot of hawkers and their goods on the streets and pavement and seizes that of others at the same time. It was difficult to tell the reason or rhyme by which they operated. A perfume hawker who was passed by earlier by some of the Abaye later had his carting truckload of perfume detained by one of the Abaye leaders. They requested money. Either that or they would take his goods away. The perfume hawker gave them 10 Ghana cedis sale he had made, after which they advised him to leave before their cargo car arrives. Some of the Abaye city guards then continue with their seizing of hawkers' goods. This time, they seized the chairs of some tomato and cassava traders who had their goods displayed on the streets. The Abaye who wanted money from these traders initially refused to listen to the pleading of the traders but later heeded when they offered them money. They initially declined the 2 Ghana cedis the traders offered, but they, the traders, claimed another city guard called Red had come to take money from them and asked them to stay and sell there. These ones listened, took the 2 Ghana cedis from the traders and allowed them to continue with their business in the streets.
Okay, I got you.
Is it this simple? Just mentioning the name of one other city guard and then you have your goods cleared. Is paying bribe to one city guard simply enough to guarantee that you can stay on the streets without permission from the Accra Metropolitan Assembly? These city guards were clearly undermining efforts by the city to maintain law and order, taking money just for their own selfish aims. This dynamic often leads to a feeling of unfairness among hawkers, which turns them hostile against city guards sometimes. On one occasion, we came across hawkers attacking an Abaye, claiming he had seized their goods for close to a week, but couldn't locate him after the goods were taken. And when they asked the other Abaye, they all pointed to that particular Abaye. During the confrontation, that he, the Abaye, being confronted, only resembles the one that took the goods from the hawkers and had nothing to do with their goods. It was not clear what traders can do when their goods get seized. Accountability appears to be zero, and many traders have had to lose their sources of livelihood as a result of the lack of transparency among city guards who seize such goods. It all goes against the words of the mayor, who cautioned that decongestion and other efforts to maintain order within the central business district of Accra must be done with a humane face, since the informal sector contributes largely to the country's economy. Near the Tema station in Accra, we came across this city guard who was poking a stick at the breast of a street hawker. The hawker, who had her goods seized earlier, had come to plead for the release of her goods. Angered by what the guard was doing, she snatched the stick from him. This turned into a brief heated argument between the lady and the Abaye guys, as another Abaye guy present also tries to touch the lady's breast. To diffuse any tension about the inappropriateness of their actions, they all ended up laughing. The lady had no choice, as these guys were abusing their power. At Tudu, we witnessed a shop owner clashing with the Abaye leader for opening his shop on a day meant for general cleaning, as the Abaye leader pushed the shop owner amidst threats. Around the same time, a hawker paced the Abaye in their operation vehicle to prevent her goods from being seized, while that of others were seized and loaded into the operation vehicle. Another Abaye, light blue t-shirt over black trousers with a black cap, took money from the same hawker to prevent seizing her goods. We also came across the case of an Abaye helping street hawkers who do their packing in the evening. This is allegedly done for a fee. Another Abaye, called Blackie, in a reflector, forcibly tries to take a pair of sandals from one of the street hawkers, guy in grey t-shirt over with a body bag across his body, without paying, but the hawker denies him and took it back from him. Some of the Abaye guys even helped the street hawker sell his sandals right in the street because of what will be received later from the hawker. We found that you either needed to have money or, in some instances, be attractive enough as a female to a city guard, then your goods could be released to you. While stationed at the AMA office one time, we came across the following scenes. Some hawkers got their seized goods released to them at the AMA office, while others were not even listened to. A hawker later told a fellow hawker that one's goods would be released when he or she has money. An AMA officer releases seized goods, beats to hawkers in exchange for one of the hawkers' contact details at the AMA office near Nkrumah Mausoleum, while others who approached him for the same gesture were ignored.
Oh, Daddy. Thank you.
Some Abaye in a green polo shirt and a white jersey tried to release some seized goods to some hawkers from their storage container at the AMA office near Accra Mausoleum, but were stopped by a higher AMA officer and ordered for the closure of the container.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye. 20.
For most Abaye, it's all about the money.
Hey, Oscar. Where go you are? Something else started to one earlier. The people who catch us, me dada. But no one will be a goal. No one will be a goal. I can't let you again. How shopping mall? One catch on to Mr. Job. One of Mr. Sam. Madam, Mr. Job at this time. I am
Sometimes the Abaye employ other hawkers to collect money on their behalf, so it does not look obvious that they are collecting bribes. The designated collector takes about 2 or 5 Ghana cedis each from fellow hawkers in the morning, then meets the guards when their vehicle approaches. Once this is done, the guards completely ignore the street where this is happening. A hawker with a green cloth tied around her waist under a green and white apron, taking money contributions from fellow hawkers under the authority of one of the Abaye leaders at the Ayalolo Bus Terminal Pedestrian Pavement and Streets, Kimbu, to be given to the Abaye and their leaders to prevent their goods from being seized and harassment from the Abaye. Another hawker with pink cloth tied around her waist with a black and grey top also went round to collect the remaining of the contribution from the other hawkers, as the first collector was attending to some customers and also some of the hawkers were refusing to pay, saying they won't pay any money while selling in the sun. This further resulted in some quarrels among the hawkers, as those who paid said they can't be paying for some to enjoy the benefits while they all get money from the place. This led to the second collector going around seizing goods of those who hadn't paid, and that resulted in altercations among the hawkers, which took the intervention of one Abaye to settle the issue, hence deciding to collect the money himself. The hawker, who didn't want to pay the contribution the previous day, explains to her fellow hawker of a quarrel over payment of daily contribution meant for the Abaye to prevent their goods from being seized. Another hawker with a cloth tied around her waist, taking money contributions from fellow hawkers under the authority of one of the Abaye leaders at the Ayalolo Bus Terminal Pedestrian Pavement and Streets, Kimbu, to be given to the Abaye and their leaders to prevent their goods from being seized and harassments from the Abaye. Hawkers further discussed who does the authorization for the collection of the money, claiming it's one Obi who does the authorization, and the fact that there is always chaos after collection of the money, as all the top men want to be given the money. Yes. Another Abaye happily collected 10 Ghana cedis from each street trader behind Cantonmanton as their every Saturday contribution to be given to Nat, the Abaye boss for that area, to prevent their goods from being seized and any form of harassment. What happens to traders like Abolowe, the trader with a baby, when they are unable to satisfy the Abaye every day? They get arrested all the time. Abaye, on their usual good seizing spree, again seizes Abolowe's truck full of footwear, while others were left, but this time they loaded the footwear into sacks to prevent another messy encounter with Abolowe, the hawker with the baby.
Sorry. I'm family and call them.
It became a practice to always seize her goods during an operation as they claimed she's been stubborn and made people video them with the spectacle she created when they were seizing her goods.
Na omuba na otike mba meni jebe nyama na metise oni boys ni gidi enti guy bi kra ko try na mo je phone free se
abayefo ne de na omo ye ne de omo ye omo adwuma fan eye ba kwan omo de ye nam so ne de enye ko entimi ba se ye nyina ye hwedwa o pavement so obi be hwebi wa ha obi be hwebi wa ha obo nsa na one side, no one side, not just a Ghana fuana.
Surely, the mayor has good intentions, but does he have the right men to implement? What's there to keep them in line? May God Almighty make every Ghanaian fearless and honest to uplift our national flag.